What is up everyone, Movie Worm back again with another Line of Duty instant reaction. This is going to be for the series finale. Yes, season 6, episode 7 has finally aired on UK TV. We have all been building this up, we've been anticipating this episode, we've all been guessing every week what's going to happen, and it's finally all been unveiled. I had a quick look on social media just after this. A lot of people aren't happy with this episode. And look, I can understand why, but I did kind of enjoy it. I had a fun time watching this episode. I mean, it could have probably had a better ending, but I'm satisfied. I don't think it was terrible or anything like that. I thought it was this series as a whole has been decent. Been really enjoying making these videos. So just to let you all know, it's just finished like 10 minutes ago. So I'm doing this as an instant reaction. I'm not a full-on expert or anything like that. It's not a full breakdown. I'm just here to give my opinion as a fan on what I thought of the episode and just pick apart all the little things I broke down as the episode went on. So if I do miss anything, I do apologise, but let's just get into it. So Steve is finally gone for his health checkup. He's been getting plagued by these messages all series, and he finally goes and sees this guy who tells him that he starts pushing him about all these officers he's worked with and why they've died and stuff. And this is just after Steve's, been told that they know about him on painkillers and he's taken too many. And Steve sort of gets annoyed by the way he's pushed him over that, understandably so. But I think this guy is just worried about the welfare of his, his colleagues and stuff. But he says you've got to surrender your blue ticket. I mean, you can't carry firearms and stuff like that. And it was kind of funny to see this in a scene which I'll talk about in a minute, when he didn't have a firearm, what he had to use, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the Gale Vela murder weapon, just before that, Steve went and told Hastings before he was told about it, and Ted didn't look too shocked. So Steve was like, okay, that's a bit weird, but we do find out why in a bit. Gale Vela's murder weapon was confirmed to be Carl Banks as the shooter, and then Kate and Steve learn that Ryan Pilkington, well maybe not Kate because he admitted it to her a couple of episodes ago, killed Steve Corbett and Monique Bendra. I think it's Bendra. So he's a nasty little bastard, Ryan, wasn't he? But it's all confirmed to Kate and Steve here. And then Lomax looked really shocked when they said, is Osborne involved in any of this? And he just went, the Chief Constable? Really? Which you probably would if you were just a normal officer. Now a lot of people were saying that Thirlwell body that they found in Spain isn't him. It's definitely a decoy, and it was a decoy sort of, but not in that way. So I'm sorry to all them people in the comments who said that, but it was in fact Thirlwell. I mean, nothing wrong with saying that, because it is, it's a likable scenario where James Nesbitt has come in and he's just been there on a picture. I do think Jed done that on purpose though, because everyone is going to think it's not him who's died, and in fact it was his body that's been there for a couple of weeks actually. So it was all a big setup really by the OCG. And then they start running tests on this definitely spelling really. And they start running searches on all these messages that have linked up with this word definitely. And then they're not coming from Spain. This message on these to Jo Davidson was not coming from Spain. It was actually coming from here. No one really guessed that one. I don't think anyone's seen that one coming. I thought we all thought these messages were coming from Spain, but they weren't. So after that, we see the transportation scene of Jo Davidson. Now these horrible guards are in there again, and it's all a big setup saying Lomax and Kate Fleming have allowed this, but they haven't. They are not the requesting officers. It's just forged, because this is going to be a big ambush. And these guards will probably get away with it by just saying you were ambushed by the OCG, had nothing to do with it. But in fact, Steve and Kate have other ideas, and I thought it was great what they'd done. So what happened was, I blink and you miss it. I had to rewind it just a few seconds to see what happened. But once this van that is carrying Joe went under the tunnel, Steve and Kate intercept the vehicle, jump in it, and it's a trap for the OCG. So the OCG go up to this vehicle and think they've got Joe, but Steve and Kate in fact pop out. I just thought it was kind of funny the way Steve had to use a taser, but Kate could use her firearm because he's had his firearm license suspended for a little bit, so he had to use a taser. I thought it was a bit not very fair on him really, but what can you do? And I just seen them prison guards getting arrested. I brought it up in last week's video. Why don't these prison guards ever get arrested? Why do they always get away with it? They have finally been brought to justice, which is great. Love seeing them sitting in the car there, with the smug, just a little smug smile being wiped off the face, which happens to another person in a minute, who I'll talk about. And then we have the interview with Jo Davidson, and she says you can be put into witness protection if you just give all these names now. Who's this father and who is H? Who's this guy you thought was your dad, or pretending to be your dad or whatever, and who is H? And we do find out that it was Fairbanks, I believe. But in this interview, I really thought Jo was just going to spit it out. I was screaming at the TV saying, come on, just say the damn name. So I was dying to find out, but she never. We do find out in a little bit who it was, though. So Fairbanks was sort of manipulating it. Now, I do think, someone said in the comments a few weeks ago that Fairbanks is just, this is all an act. And I do think it is, because when they brought up about him being Jo Davidson's fake father, really, he sort of took it back a little bit, realised what he was being told, and then just went, oh, this was years ago, but he might not be putting it on, but it just seemed to me that it was playing daft. Sorry, I'm just going to sit back here. The spelling of definitely matches. Now, we found a match, and they can't quite, like Ted, Kate and Steve can't quite believe it when they see who it is on the paper, and as a viewer we're not allowed to see it yet, and I was like, oh my god, how long is this going to drag out? But they're just shocked, really. And then, by the way, Ted says Steph told him, oh yeah, Ted says to Steve, that's Steph. Ted says to Steve that Steph told him about the pills, she was sort of caring about him, and that's why Ted advised that he get some health messages, go for the health check and stuff, because he cares about Steve for his welfare. And then Kate and Steve confront Ted about the money, the missing money, the £50,000 and stuff, and a lot of people have been saying what's been happening with that in the comments, and they are correct. He felt bad on John Corbett, he felt bad that he'd given John Corbett up. He didn't actually say his name, he just told Lee Banks that there was someone in there who was a police officer, or an informant if you like, because he was fuming that John Corbett had got officers killed, he had tortured Ted Hastings' wife. So he knows he made a mistake, basically. He was just angry at the time and stuff, and he knows he made a mistake, and he fully admitted it to Kate and Steve. And he said he later found out that John Corbett was one of his ex-lover's sons, and a woman he cared deeply about, which eats away at him even more. But then after that we got the big reveal of this H character, this fourth man, even though he says it in the interview that it wasn't. By the way, just before that, we do find out that it's a him. A lot of people were saying the trailer suggests it might be a woman and stuff, and I was on board with that as well, but it was in fact a him. So we were getting our little clues revealed to us before the big unveiling, and I thought this was really well filmed. This guy walking in with these the police officers all around him and stuff, and I was just like, oh, they're really building this tense scene up here. But I must admit, when I seen the prisoner jumping on him, I knew it'd be Buckells, and in fact it is unveiled to be Buckells. Yes, that daft man who just plays daft all the time. It is Ian Buckells, finally. Now, I just thought that was kind of funny, actually, because he is the type of person to spell definitely wrong, isn't he? Because he's kind of, just a bit, but he's the type of person to do that. So it does fit with his character well. So I do think that was a really big clue by Jeb Mercurio there, when you think back. It's sort of in your face, really. I do think that was a good clue there. But yeah, it is in fact to be him. Now, this interview was great. He just kept saying no comment, and I was like, oh my god, they're throwing evidence at you. You cannot carry on saying no comment. They were throwing everything at him. They knew all this stuff that he'd been involved in, and there's too many to mention because it's all about laptops and stuff like that. There was just everything, and there was no way out for him, really. And he comes out and says, how about immunity? And there's a little smile on his face, and I'm like, oh my god. because he says there's lots of OCG gangs and stuff. I just passing information on. I can give you everyone if you give me immunity. Now, Ted starts getting a car on and stuff, and he says to Ted, "Have a glass of water." I was like, "You cheeky, cocky bastard." Yeah, sorry. So he asked for immunity, but there's no way out for him. He's backed himself into a corner without realising it, because if he gives up, I think they were asking him about Osborne, if he gives him up, or everyone else, he can't get immunity because he's involved in a murder. So no matter what he does, he's checkmate. It's checkmate for him. And just before he went, I made mugs of you lot, didn't I? But Hastings just comes out with that when he realises he's checkmated and says, "No one makes mugs of AC-12. Got him. Got the man. So yeah, I thought that was a good scene, actually. I really enjoyed that. Just before it as well, Carmichael was just staring at Ted as he was walking in. I thought, oh, tense stuff. Kate and Steve go for a little pint afterwards, like a little celebratory drink, and she says, "You're going to end up on your own." He went, "No, mate, I've got you." So they're true friends, aren't they, really? And now, one other thing I noticed, you see that board that's always empty on the end? Buckells is now on that board with the other three. So, yeah, job done, really. I mean, a lot of people saying there's a lot more to this. There probably is. I do think we'll get a Series 7, but Ted speaks to Carmichael. He goes in and says, we have to start being honest as officers and stuff like that. And he walks out and realises that he has to start being honest, goes back into Carmichael, admits everything that he told Steve and Kate, that he was involved in John Corbett's murder, by accident really. And Carmichael just says, "What do you want me to do with that information?" So I think Carmichael is, I don't really think she's that, I think she's willing to let some things slide at times. I don't know. I don't think she's going to bring it up again in the next series, but if there is a next series, we'll wait and see. But I just like the way Ted told her this. He is honest to the core. He is no more honest cop than Ted. I mean, even though he'd done that, which was a little bit corrupt, he's fully admitted it now, and he's got like a relief off his shoulders because he knows he had to tell people, and he did. And what I liked about this episode was the end, where it just tied everything together, where you see Teddy Boyle in a much safer place now. It's he's out of prison, no OCG is controlling him or anything like that. I felt happy for the guy. Farida back to being a police officer. She's been released. She seems like a nice enough character. I was happy for her. Darren Hunter is finally being brought to justice after all these years. What was it, like 20 years or something? Good to see that. And a happy ending for Jo. I really didn't think it was going to end well for her. I really didn't. I thought she was going to get killed in this series. She just was in a tight corner there, but she is in witness protection, found a new partner, and is just leading a happy life. And I was happy for her. In the end, I really didn't like her at the start of the show, but I liked her at the end. It's just, that's what Line of Duty does. And Buckells in a max security prison. It's all over for him. He's in a max security prison, and there's nothing down for that guy. I mean, especially if people start coming out and stuff like that, and who were granted immunity if they give his name and stuff like that. Now, I'd just like to say well done to Jamie Galloway and another user called Joe, who last week in the comments said that they still think Buckells is H. So well done to you two. You got it right after all these weeks. You stuck by it. And I think, you deserve a shout out there. So, yeah, there is the series finale. I've really enjoyed doing these videos, guys. I know they're not the best edited videos or anything, but they are instant reactions. I don't know what else to do. I mean, it's just one take. I don't usually do it like this. And these are the first time I've ever done instant reactions. But thank you so much to everybody who has been watching these. Coming to the channel every week and seeing my views, just my little fan theories and stuff like that. And it's been great getting involved in the comments with you all as well. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed it. I hope to be doing a Series 6 full review. And I'll review it like I do my reviews properly all the time. And a ranking of Series 1 to 6 from worst to best. Hopefully that's coming for you Line of Duty fans in the next week or so. So thank you so much, everyone. Like I said, if you want to comment down below, I'll try and get back to you all, I promise. Take it out. If you are here, because the Line of Duty videos, by the way, I review lots of movies on this channel. I do top 10s and everything. And I do talk other TV shows as well. mainly just reviews on the whole series. So if that sounds good to you and you want to subscribe, please feel free to do so. I would love to have you on board. Thank you so much, everyone. Take it all easy, and I'll see you all in the next video.